Today I'm working on a Craftsman walk-behind string trimmer. This comes with a 6 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine. It's been sitting for a long time and of course won't start due to carburetor damage. So I'll show you how to take it apart, replace the carburetor, and get it back running again. When ordering parts for these machines, always reference the 917 number. That indicates that they were built by American Yard Products here in America. These were also built for Husqvarna and painted orange. Engine parts are purchased based on the engine number, and you'll need this first series model type and spec. The serial number is not important, but engine parts are sold separately. They were not part of the 917 body of the machine. I won't tie up any time with the disassembly. It's all 5/16 fasteners. One here, one here. You can remove this. Remove the air filter by taking off that bolt, and you can finesse the air filter cover away from the wheel. Typically you have to take the air filter with it. There are 3 more right there. Take those off, and you can move this away and unhook the throttle cable. There's a crankcase vent hose behind it that goes to a metal pipe here. Just make sure that's turned up and straightened. Now you have access to the carburetor. A pair of 3/8 screws will remove that. This carburetor was said to be leaking, and upon removal of the bowl, we find there's no gasket. So someone's been working on it, and that's why it doesn't run. This is a good indicator to show the ravages of ethanol fuel. Nice chalky deposits, and the orifice in this jet is completely clogged and corroded up. Additionally, the gasket located here is completely missing. Without that gasket, this carburetor will not function because this choke assembly, which you can see is out of position from somebody messing with it, won't function. We'll start by removing the fuel line, and then the 2 bolts that hold the carburetor. The carburetor can then be rotated off of the governor rod, and we can see how much of this carburetor is corroded, including down inside this jet right here. We'll begin reassembly by removing that O-ring. With the O-ring off, we'll check the condition of the plastic intake tube, and it's loose and rattling. Common for these intake tubes to break, or for the fasteners to come undone at the cylinder head. With that intake tube in this condition, we cannot reassemble this engine until we take care of that situation, or it still won't run correctly. We'll start by removing the screen of the fan shroud. Lift that off. There are 3 5/32 screws on this ring where the fuel tank attaches to the engine shroud. And one where the filler neck attaches. Normally Normally the fuel tank assembly would just rotate rearward. It's hanging up on a flange that's on top of the engine's fan cover. So we're going to remove this one bolt and spacer from underneath the fuel tank to give more access, and then lift it off. There's this plate that is hanging us up. That is normally not on these engines. It must be an add to help keep debris out of the engine. So we'll now take the fan cover off. There are 4 fasteners that hold this in place. 3/8 head socket. Be careful when you're loosening these two. They have a tendency to seize into the sheet metal that they're threaded into, and they might snap off in the cylinder head. These are also both long compared to the ones that came out of the rear of the housing. Lastly, there's one remaining 5/16. And the oil filler can be lifted out of the engine. And then the fan housing lifted off. With the intake pipe exposed, we can see that the screws have just come loose. I'm going to remove those screws and inspect the gasket. These are 1/4 inch head, and they're not even tight. There is an updated version of this intake available, should yours be broken. I'm going to take the coil off so that I can access that intake tube easier and not risk breaking it. So the surface looks good. Usually they'll break across right here. There's no cracks in it. You can also look down inside that intake port and make sure the valve stem seal is in place and that there's nothing that's fallen down inside. That all looks good. This is a good location for a little engine Permatex sealant. Alright, with a little sealant both sides, we'll rest that back in place. Slide our intake pipe back down and finesse the screws in. I'd have to wiggle this around a little bit so that the intake and the gasket and the holes in the cylinder head line up with each other. There we go. And we can tighten it down. Put the coil back on. We'll hand thread these first so we don't strip out the towers and the cylinder head. Check for fit. We'll reverse our disassembly process. So the fan housing will set on first. Make sure you get this piece of sheet metal in the right spot or it'll rattle. The two short fasteners go at the rear of the housing. The two long fasteners go at the front of the housing. The oil filler tube goes on next. Be sure and wipe this all off because it's going to have dirt all over it. And that's either going to fall down in the engine or it's going to foul that O-ring's ability to seal and you'll have a leak there. All the fasteners up here are these shouldered versions if you get confused. Fuel tank can go on next. We'll start with our plastic spacer and our long bolt from underneath the tank. The bolt goes through the eyelet on the tank, then through the spacer, and then into the engine. And then 3 more of the shoulder fasteners through this top starter surround ring. It's usually a good idea to put these in loose to start with, because the ring will not be perfectly round and everything won't fit otherwise. Set the dipstick in. Screen can go back on. Has a couple of tabs in it, so make sure those tabs lock down. Those help hold it in place. And then these self-tapping plastic screws. They don't need to be very tight. And that's it. Time to put the carburetor back on. We'll start with a new O-ring. And as you can see, that intake tube is nice and snug now. The carburetor goes onto the governor rod first, and is going to be held in place by a couple of 3/8 headed bolts. Tighten the bolts in small increments because you're pressing against a very flimsy sheet metal flange. You don't want to strip out the flange, and you don't want to load that plastic pipe in the O-ring from one side only, because you'll damage them. So you can just go back and forth a couple of times. And then the fuel hose can go back on. Carburetor is installed. As I mentioned, this gasket is missing, but you'll want to use a new gasket anyway. They go on one way. There are some locator pins so that the gasket stays on while you reassemble everything. I wanted to show you the inside of the primer bulb assembly. It's a screen. These screens get packed with debris, especially on weed trimmers like this, and you'll have an engine that won't start simply because the primer bulb isn't pushing air through that screen, which engages a passage in the carburetor, which pumps fuel from the bowl of the carburetor into the engine as a choke function. So not a bad idea to pick that primer bulb out of there, clean the screen. The primer bulbs go on with this collar in that position so that it expands and catches the black plastic housing. They can be tricky, and it's a great way to stab yourself with a screwdriver. So push the bulb in place so it seats, and then with the tabs facing outwards, clock the tabs so that they line up with these two slots, and you can get them in, and then using the tip of a screwdriver you can start finessing that lock ring down, and eventually it will enter the slots, and you can engage those tabs by pushing a little bit harder. Just be careful, because it's very easy to stab yourself in the hand with this function. When the white tab is seated correctly against the black housing, it'll pop outward a little bit and be flush at the base. and look like that on the inside. So now we'll put the air filter base on first. Finesse past the wheel, engage the throttle cable, make sure that your crankcase breather pipe engages the metal pipe coming out of the engine. And now 3 screws. Again, a good idea to hand tighten these. These do not have a shoulder on them. If the surface of this black air filter base doesn't mate up to the carburetor perfectly, the primer bulb won't function because that gasket won't seal. You can now put the grill on. On this engine, it takes one of the shouldered screws for the front and this sheet metal screw for the top. If you ever have an engine that won't run fast enough, either on a lawnmower using this exact engine or on one of these walk-behind string trimmers, it'll be because this bendable governor engine speed control tab has been hit into something like a branch or a bush and bent rearward. If it bends rearward too far, the engine won't start because it's perpetually held with the throttle plate closed in idle. Or if it's just running at a slow speed and won't adjust, you can grab it and pull it outward like that until you get to that magic 3600 RPM level. New air filter is next. I checked the pre-foam filter and that was fine, so we're not going to replace that. And with the air filter sitting in position, this will clear the tire. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day.